Background.
Good morning, News in Motion family. Today is Monday, June 12th, 2023. Today is the start of the week. How was everybody's weekend? How was y'all's weekend? Uh, right now we in Columbus, Ohio. We're starting to get some rain. We are starting to get some rain, so hopefully it knock out those allergies for those who have been struggling with the sinus infection and the sneeze. And trust me, I'm in that same boat with you. I am in that same boat with you. We praying for you. Also, pray for those Miami fans because right now it is not looking so good as the Denver Nuggets are up 3-1. It's looking like the fat lady is warming up the vocal cords and she's grabbing the mic. It may be raps for the Miami Heat, but who knows? Maybe they're just following the script and playing possum until they're dragging it out to Game 7. But as we see you coming into the room, whether you are on the tubes of you, the book of face, or you are a audio and podcast listener, we just want to say thank you for listening in, and also shout out to our LinkedIn viewers as well. So, with that being said, you know what we do here. Let's get some news in motion.
News in motion.
Good morning, everyone. This time for your news in motion. I see Isaiah. Some of us, some on our end, we're getting some. We're freezing a little bit as well, so just bear with us. We have rain, we have wind, which is we're glad, we're thankful for the rain. I see you, Adrian, coming in on YouTube, and Marion Jackson on YouTube. I see Robert Holman coming in on Facebook. Y'all, today is Monday, June the 12th. I see you, Latrice Jones. It's Monday, June the 12th, 2023. I am your host, Gail Dudley. If you are tuning in on LinkedIn, Facebook, or YouTube, we see you. If you are coming in on the podcast, let us know who you are from time to time. Yes, hit those hearts and those thumbs up, and hit that alert on the other side and that like when you're on YouTube. Also hit the thumbs up or the heart when you're on LinkedIn as well. We always like to hear from you. I know you're probably tired of hearing about it, but I promise you, I'm going to break this thing down today. So, if you have been tuning in, you understood what happened on June 8th. The documents were unsealed because of all that was happening. And so, I have the 49 pages with me this morning. We're not going to hit every page, but I'm also going to be asking questions that I think is important for all of us to walk through so we have a greater understanding of this document and what's happening. So until that time, let me know how your weekend was going. I want to give a shout out to Second Baptist Church in Circleville. Very nice church. We had a great time yesterday. It was their Women's Day. Shout out to Latrice Jones, who hung out with me there. She drove that time over to Circleville just to be in the room. And it's always good to see a familiar face. So shout out to Latrice Jones for that. All right, with that said, again, this is Monday, June the 12th. If y'all would just put in the chat, just, say something. Let us know you're in here. I see you, Felicia Williams. Good morning to you. Good morning, good morning, good morning. We have half on Facebook and we have the other half on YouTube. And we also have some over here on LinkedIn. And then we have our podcast platform. What's up, Shardania? Good morning to you as well. All right, y'all. So I want to walk through this. Again, I'm sure you're probably done with it, but I'm taking a different stance with this today. I see Regina Shorts and Camille Jones. Good morning to you. So, y'all, it was Donald J. Trump was indicted by the federal grand jury of 37 counts. That first call, they were saying 7 counts, but it was him putting the news out there on Truth Social that people were grabbing up. but it was actually 37 counts. I see you, Judy Neal. Adrian says she had a low-key weekend. What's up, Kim Edmondson, popping up in here? So again, I'm going to use this time. We have other news as well, but I'm going to connect the dots and share information you may not have heard on other news channels. I was thinking about popping in here on Friday. I was like, nope, not doing it, because more stuff was still unfolding. So, y'all, let me just walk through some of this. Again, I'm not going through all 49 pages, but I want us to help connect the dots. I also posted a link on my regular Facebook page. Now, I get it, because people were saying, I don't want to read it. I just want to hear what you have to say. I want you all to get into the place of reading it for yourself as well. But let me go through some of this. The introduction of the case, and again, I got the whole 49 pages. The introduction says, defendant Donald J. Trump was the 45th president of the United States of America. He held office from January 20th, 2017 until January 20th, 2021. As president, Trump had lawful access to the most sensitive classified documents and national defense information gathered and owned by the United States government. Now, it's key, gathered and owned, including information from the agencies that comprise the United States intelligence community and the United States Department of Defense. The reason that's in there, and it starts this way, is to give you an introduction of what's happening. And it's also very important. I'm going to pause here and give you information as voters. It's also important to understand what a president does. Like there are many things. It's more than just getting on a platform and giving a speech. It's handling some of the most classified documents in these United States of America. It's so important that we understand this. And my hope is that people not only read this indictment, the charges that were filed, not only read, but understand exactly what the responsibilities are for a president. So we have to start asking ourselves, can we trust this person with our daily lives, with things that are going on? This is what's happening. I see you, Stephanie Burbridge Hall. And I want y'all to talk back to me in the chat if you are watching live and have the chat capability. The number 2 of this says, over the course of his presidency, Trump gathered. Now, this is so important. Pay attention to this. This is something his press corps would do. But no, this is what he was doing. Trump gathered newspapers, press clippings, letters, note cards, photographs, official documents, and other materials in cardboard boxes that he kept in the White House. Among the materials Trump stored in his boxes were hundreds of classified documents. Number 3, the classified documents Trump stored in his boxes included information regarding defense and weapons capabilities of both the United States and foreign countries. So he also had classified documents from foreign countries, United States nuclear programs, potential vulnerabilities of the United States and its allies to military attack, and plans for possible retaliation in response to a foreign attack. This is what was in those boxes. I'm not done. The unauthorized disclosure of these classified documents could put at risk the national security of the United States, foreign relations, the safety of the United States military and human sources, and the continued visibility of sensitive intelligence collective methods. All of this, y'all, and I'm slow walking this today. I have other news, but I want us to get through this first. And I also have some questions I want all of us to start considering as we're going into this election season. We're actually already in it. I'm going to jump down to number 5. After Trump's presidency, the Mar-a-Lago Club was not an authorized location. That was not an authorized location because it's unsecure. For storage, possession, review, display, or discussion of classified documents. Nevertheless, Trump stored his boxes containing classified documents in various locations at Mar-a-Lago Club, including the ballroom that people have access to, the bathroom and shower, an office space, his bedroom, and a storage room. On 2 occasions, this is where it gets really interesting. I just want y'all to follow the dots and we'll start talking about this. Marion says the former guy will be the first president to go to jail. Yeah, that's what it looks like that. Now I'll explain to that in a moment. July, it goes on and says directing defendant Walting not to moved boxes of documents to conceal them from Trump's attorney. That's out there. He had his assistant take boxes and move them to conceal them from his attorneys, the FBI, and the grand jury. He suggested that his attorneys hide and destroy documents. He was providing to the FBI and grand jury some of the documents called for by the grand jury subpoena, but also hid others, causing the certification to be submitted to the FBI to ask for the remaining boxes. Adrian is saying he really wanted to uh, the feel like a king of the land. He was feeding his ego. Y'all, at first there were 197 documents. Later they found 102 more. So that is also a part of it. It also talks about what the Mar-a-Lago Club looks like, which I won't go into all of that there. Um, then there were all the different images and pictures of where all the classified documents were stored, which I'm sure you've seen a lot of those on the news during the weekend. Um, Here's an exchange from an employee with Trump. Trump employee number 2 says, "We can definitely make it work if we move his papers to the lake room." They're trying to figure out how to move the papers, the boxes. And Trump employee number 1 says, "There is still a little room in the shower where his other stuff is. It is only his papers he care about. There's some other stuff in there that are not papers. Could that go to storage, or does he want everything in there on property?" Then employee number 2 comes back and says, and this is all a part of the 49-page document. Yes, anything that's not the beautiful mine paper boxes can definitely go in storage. Want to take a look at the space and start moving tomorrow AM? These employees are also a part of this. Good morning, Deborah Sneed. Marion says, because of his action, DOJ will make an example of the former guy and others involved. So y'all, there's a whole lot, there's all these pictures over here. I did the pictures in black and white from my printer. But there's a lot of information here. And I put the link again on my regular Facebook page. And I would encourage you to read the actual document. And I'm going to tell you why. Again, there's a whole lot here. And then there's a where, remember, he was saying that he declassified the documents, where there was one document that was not declassified, which is really going to hold a lot of weight. But again, he had stored documents in a unsecured location. So a lot of people became very disappointed because the case will be heard in Florida. This is under a Trump-appointed judge. And it looks like the prosecutors decided that this will be the best venue for their case to be in Florida and not in DC, because the documents, and their argument was that the documents were found in the state of Florida. Now, the judge presiding over this region in which Mar-a-Lago is Aileen Cannon. And the conservative appeals court ended up overruling her the last time because she is a Trump appointed judge, which there should be, and I want us to talk about some of this, there should be some sort of law that says that if you appoint a judge, they can't hear your case. There's something, we should think about that. But the other thing I want to point out is that we really, we must understand that presidents appoint judges. Now, I'm not saying we should have an all conservative court or an all liberal court, or all moderate court. I'm not saying that. But we need to understand, and this is where we can start as constituents and as registered voters, is to get to know the judges in your area. Meaning, check their records. See how they normally vote for things. Like, for example, how many teens do they put behind bars? How many Black men do they charge? What are the disparities in the way they charge people? Can you break that up on social economic status? Can you break that up on job title? Can you break that up in educational level? Can you break that up in demographics of nationality and skin color, classification and so forth. Start looking at this so that you understand the judges that are in your area. You get a clear picture of the landscape, if I can say it that way. Also, y'all, and speaking with different sources, some people are saying, will Trump be arrested? No, it's going to be the same thing that happened in New York. He has agreed to turn himself in. So this will happen Tuesday in Miami. So what time that's going to happen tomorrow, I have no idea, but it's going to be the same thing. He has agreed to turn himself in. Now, if he's convicted of these serious crimes, some people are asking, what does that mean? Well, there have been people who have been charged with having classified documents illegally in unsecured places that carry a maximum of 20 years in prison. Okay. Now, per the Washington Post, Perry Stein, I love Perry's report. People have been asking, can Trump still run for president? Yes, he can. He can still run for president. Now, the Constitution, this is from Perry Stein from the Washington Post. The Constitution includes 3 requirements to run for president. A candidate must be at least 35 years old and be a natural born U.S. citizen and have resided in the United States for at least 14 years. Beyond that, there are very few restrictions to holding the presidency. But if he's convicted, this is still coming from Perry Stein, but if he's convicted, he might not be able to vote. And that raises a constitutional question. If he can't vote, can he be president? So let's even talk about this for a moment. Again, I want to give you a lot of information. This is a great case study if we could use it that way. And I want y'all to start thinking about this. And I want you to try to discipline yourself to stay away from all the noise and focus on the facts of the case. So, questions that we should ask as registered voters, and I'm purposely saying registered voters. Question we should ask: how much taxpayers' money should be used on Trump? We have New York, we have that grand jury indicted him there. We have this here for Mar-a-Lago and the state of Florida, Miami, and taxpayers' money there. We still have Georgia, and we're waiting on that result there. And then there are others. How much, we need to start talking about, well, how much of our taxpayers' money is going into this. The other thing, how to understand how judges are appointed and the work that we need to do on our side to understand the appointment of judges and understand that the president, so we have to get beyond the popularity of presidents and say, can you do this job? There's a lot weighing on this, and who are the people that are surrounding you? Because it's not just that one person. There are other people that are helping that man or that woman in that office. Who's surrounding you? Are they good with appointing judges? Are they good with doing foreign policy, education? What about the Congress? What about the Senate and the House? Y'all, we have to get, and y'all have heard me say this from day one on News in Motion, get beyond popularity contests. What can I do as a registered voter? Who do I need to write to? We had that great piece from Deborah Johnson talking about writing your representatives. Here's a time to reach out to them and ask them what legislation are they putting in place. Because here's the thing. You're going to take away their right to vote if convicted for these types of crimes, but you're going to let them still run for president and they can actually win? Like, make this make sense. And these are questions we need to be raising, and we need to be asking these questions and also saying, what legislation is in place? This was the Constitution. How many years ago was this written? How do we need to alter this? How does this need to change? Instead of these 3 things, being 35 and being born a natural born U.S. citizen and living in the United States for at least 14 years, we need to add something else. You shouldn't be a convicted felon, like something like that. I see you, Dr. Antoinette. I see you. We need to add this to the list. And then, we need to dig deeper into how is it that a convicted person may be losing their voting rights, but again, can still run and win the presidency. Yes, Dr. Antoinette, mental health. What's the mental health? Should we add that? And let's say thanks to Nikki Haley, who's running on the GOP side, to say, at a certain point we should do, but I think everyone should get a test and assessment from a nonpartisan, just like we have a nonpartisan parliamentarian that sits in Congress. We need a nonpartisan physician to talk about mental health. And then here's another question we should be asking. How many people have served time for having classified documents? And has everyone who had classified documents um out out and about when they're, they should not have left the premise, the property, have everyone been convicted? If so, then why should this be treated any different? So these are the questions we need to be asking. Kim Edmondson says, yes, the basics of the Constitution should be revisited in a case like this. And then the other thing is to even write our representatives and say, let's not make this political, because it's not. The spin out there is that Joe Biden, he didn't do anything. This was the DOJ. This was Jack Smith. Okay, this is what's happening there. Dr. Antoinette says, not attempted to overthrow the government. Yeah, that's that part too. Absolutely. And then another question we should be pondering and asking ourselves: can we change the current laws, and what will it take to do so? A lot is so much. I mean, man, I just can only imagine being a professor or a teacher in the classroom right about now, because there's so much, so many lessons that can come from this. And we really need to pay attention, even beyond, we all of our Facebook pages, Instagram pages, so forth. We are all talking about this. And beyond that, whether you're for or against the indictment, beyond that, we need to really pause and step back and say, okay, what's really going on here? And as a registered voter, what's my responsibility? And how do I continue to share this information? For example, in the state of Ohio, August the 8th is probably the most important election ever in the state of Ohio. And I can't tell you how to vote here on News in Motion, but I'm going to encourage you to read what's happening. So, and I'll say it this way: if you vote yes on issue one, if you decide to vote yes on issue one, you are saying that the majority rule is no longer valid. And a majority is 50 plus one. So half the votes plus one. So it'd be 50 plus one. And so if you vote yes, you're saying that you're okay with only 40% of the registered voters of the votes that were tallied, that 40% can decide an election, no longer 50 plus one. Y'all follow me, follow me. If you vote no on issue one, you are saying that you stand with the majority of the definition being 50 plus one. Now, anything less than 50, that's not the majority. So 40 or 50 plus one. So on issue one in the state of Ohio, that is happening on August the 8th. I know you have heard nothing about this election, but there is an election on August the 8th in the state of Ohio. Again, they're voting yes on issue one is saying that you believe that 40% of the population of the votes that were tallied can decide any issue, any election, anything. 40%. That's not a majority. If you vote no on issue one, you are saying that you stand with the majority being 50 plus one. We have to read and connect these dots, y'all. We have to read and connect these dots. So it's deeper than just someone out here saying, oh, vote yes, or oh, vote no. Well, exactly what am I voting yes or no for? And let me understand, and then ask questions. In the state of Ohio, constituents, registered voters, you should be showing up at these town hall meetings. And even with that, you have to look for them because they're not publicizing them. So even with that, you have to look for them. So that's out there. Now, remember, as with everything else, when something is set, it is set in one state, sometimes it trickles down to other states. So are we trying to change the narrative to say a majority is no longer 50 plus one? Is that what we're saying? Are we okay with that? Because the math isn't mathing there. I know enough about math to know that 40% is not the majority. It's 50 plus one. So we have to look at that. And so we all need to pause and say, okay, let me get away from the noise. What are the facts here? And where is this coming from? There's more to even issue one in the state of Ohio than in other places. All right, let me keep going. It's very important to know that a lot of the damaging evidence in these 49 pages are fouled by notes of one of his own attorneys who decided he was protecting himself. Um, After the indictment, we also learned, and this make sense, people. Make this make sense. Yeah, Kim Edmondson, the math isn't mathing. Make this make sense. Former President Donald Trump is nearly 40 points ahead of any other person running on the GOP presidential ticket. It's not making any sense, y'all. After the indictment came out, his numbers shot up. The CBS News and YouGov poll found that 61% of likely GOP voters would still vote for Donald J. Trump in the 2024 Republican primary. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis is in second place with only 23%. So, y'all, he's nearly 40 points ahead in this new poll. And this is a good poll. We're talking CBS News and YouGov poll. He's tracking at 61%. Y'all, make this make sense. But here's the thing. Have you noticed? And I'm not attacking him. I'm asking questions. Have you noticed he cannot answer any of the questions? Have you noticed when people try to go to foreign policy or try to go to different things that he's not answering this? And I think I did circle this. Yeah, I did. In this 49 page, I want y'all to hear something. On August the 18th, 2016, when he was first running for office the first time around, he says, in my administration, I'm going to enforce all laws concerning the protection of classified information. No one will be above the law. They put this in the 49 pages. On September the 6th, 2016, Trump stated, we also need to fight this battle by collecting intelligence and then protecting our classified secrets. We can't have someone in the Oval Office who doesn't understand the meaning of the word confidential or classified. Hello, somebody. Then it says on September the 7th, 2016, Trump stated, one of the first things we must do is to enforce all classification rules and enforce all laws relating to handling of classified information. They took his words, which also say, y'all, if you don't want your words repeated out there, make sure you know what you're saying and why you're saying it, because all of this ended up in this document. On September the 19th, 2016, Trump stated, we also need the best protection of classified information. And finally, on November the 3rd, 2016, did I say 2016? 2016, you know what I mean. Trump stated, service members here in North Carolina have risked their lives to acquire classified intelligence to protect our country. So even that was put in here. So how are you, the person who made these statements about classified documents, broke your own rules? And then how is it that 61% of the GOP have him in the lead for the 2024 presidential election? Yes, Kim Edmondson, those are his words. Marion Jackson, his own words, are going to put him in jail. Make this make sense. A lot of questions, y'all. A lot of questions. I know I'm slow walking this morning, but I wanted to come on here to connect the dots. I wanted to take the weekend. I thought about coming on Friday, and I was like, nope. I want to take the weekend to read these 49 pages to get an understanding, to check with my sources, to make sure I understand what's happening, and then to share this information with you. Also in the news, Dr. Antoinette says, will the January 6th convicted insurrectionists lose their voting rights, and who's making sure they don't vote? I've asked that question, and I'm actually waiting on the answer for that. One of the answers I have received, and I'm not sure this is 100% correct, that it depended upon their actual conviction and how that was written will determine if they lose their voting rights or not. I'm waiting for more information on that. So with all of that going on, y'all, Axios and Rowley reports that in a vote held behind closed doors at the North Carolina Republican Party annual convention on this past Saturday, more than 1,000 voting delegates voted to censor U.S. Senator Tom Tillis, the Associated Press is reporting. Why this matters, y'all. They're saying that Tillis' rising reputation on the bipartisan deal maker who has worked across the aisle in negotiating legislation on gay rights, guns, and immigration apparently doesn't sit well with the party he helped put in power several years ago. People are saying that he's going to come out of the Republican Party and either go Democrat or independent, but people really like him. They say because he's a great bipartisan negotiator. So even if they want to stifle that, you have to pay attention to what's going on here. Why would you want to stifle and censor and shut down someone who is they're calling him the number one bipartisan negotiator. So he's fulfilling his role. He's making deals. Things are happening. He's considering his constituents, and they want to censor him and put him as just to be quiet and go away somewhere. So, y'all, that's everything that's happening in the political world as of today, plus everything I've been talking about the past several weeks. In other news, we have 4 children who survived a plane crash in the Amazon rainforest. They were found by rescue team after 40 days of surviving on their own in what they're calling the dense jungle. 3 adults were killed when the small passenger plane went down, including the children's mother and 2 pilots. So these 4 children survived for 40 days. We have NBA finals on tonight. I was going to say NFL. NBA finals are on tonight. Tune in tomorrow to hear from Kenny Stanley with Game Over. As y'all heard Isaiah saying in the beginning, this could be the end of the NBA finals. But y'all, even with that, we have to take moments to enjoy. So basketball, baseball, swimming, track, football, whatever. But don't lose sight of what's happening in the news. I know you don't want to watch it 24/7. That's my job, so I can bring the report to you. But let's be mindful of that. We want to start beefing up men during this week and next week. We know Father's Day is this coming Sunday. Tomorrow when we tune in, and even later on today, put suggestions in the chat of things, how you're going to support the men in your life, whether they're fathers or like a father or whatever. Put those suggestions in there. We want to highlight the men, especially our men in the News in Motion family. Marion Jackson is saying they want to silence the truth and doing what is right. Yeah, yeah. That's what they're doing. So a lot of that's happening. Many of you have been asking about what are we going to do when it comes to helping advocates become advocates or do the job. So we're looking at how we're going to roll some of this out. We've talked about it before. So just be patient. We have a lot going on. Our goal right now is to make sure we get people registered to vote. We're still looking for volunteers to get people registered to vote. And if that's you, send us an email to NewsInMotionWithGail@gmail.com and we will get that packet out to you ASAP. All right, y'all. Tomorrow is That's Happening Tuesday. We have a lot of headline news for That's Happening Tuesday. I see Devontae just popped in on the chat. Good morning to you. We will have him on tomorrow with his special segment from Unbossed. We will have Kenny Stanley on tomorrow talking about the NBA Finals. I will be coming in tomorrow connecting all the dots when it comes to That's Happening Tuesday with the headlines. All right, y'all, that's a whole lot. So let me give you this inspirational message real quick and we'll get out of here. And the inspirational message, I'm taking it from one of my points yesterday from my sermon at Second Baptist in Circleville. And that is become people with a strategy. What's your strategy? We need to get off of our hands and off of our rear end and really think about our strategy, identifying what's that thing you want to do and work that through. So what is your strategy? Spend time this week on building your strategy. Come up with at least 3 to 5 points, 3 to 5 things you want to do. Who are you going to surround yourself with? Who are the people of influence that you're going to connect with? And understand that you're an influencer as well. Looking at how you're going to connect those dots, how you're going to connect, what resources do you need? How many partners do you have? What does that look like for you? what's your focus group? Who are the people? Who are your people in your focus group? And build that out. Who do you need to speak with? Who do you need to be at the table with? Who needs to be at the table with you? How are you going to put that together? Now, this strategy could be personal, professional, or business, or investing. Whatever that looks like, start somewhere and build that strategy. Latrice Jones says, plan your work and work your plan. That's it. Lori Wallace, great morning to you. Great morning to you. I looked for you yesterday at Nobo, excuse me. I looked for you. I didn't see you out there. So build your strategy. Make sure this strategy works for you, and make sure your strategy is authentic to you. To you. Your strategy won't work if you're trying to do something that's outside of who you are and the plans and purpose that God has for you. So determine your strategy, work your strategy, ask and answer the tough questions, and also take all of it to prayer and just pray about it before you release it. I think sometimes we release things too soon. I'm guilty of that. I do that. I get so excited and I release it. And it's like, guys, like, I didn't say it was going to happen right this moment. It's going to take you a little while longer, which also speaks to the book Inspire. Y'all saw what happened with that. So we're putting that, we got it coming back together. So hopefully we'll have all that wrapped around. We would have never known that Kathy and Fort Myers would have been in that hurricane that damaged her home, that lost everything pretty much. She pretty much lost everything. And then to take the time to put all that back together, and how I was even trying to rush putting that back together. God was like, no, not, you're too soon. Just slow down. So it is coming, but it's, I'm not even going to give a date right now. It's coming. So we've been diligently working on that. And honestly, you all, I think the rewrite of this is better than the first one. So everything has a plan, a purpose, and why. Makes no sense. But it's also how you handle it. So y'all, be careful releasing things so fast. Just wait and be patient. All right, y'all, that's all I have until tomorrow. I am your host, Gail Dudley. Y'all know what I say. Stay well, and remember, make some bold moves. We're out.